I'm out here in the shop today doing a little bit of tackle rigging, getting ready to go back out on the water tomorrow. So I've had a few questions from some of y'all on the electronics that I run, what I have, how I set them up, how I use everything. So I thought today, while I'm out here doing a little bit of tackle and boat maintenance, I'd run you through what I have on my Phoenix 21 PHX. So starting up front, I have three 12-inch screens. I've got all three major brands. I feel like they each have something they're really good at and something that they're not. So I don't have a one boat network or a one boat system, but if you set these up correctly, you can get everything to work together. So starting right here, I have a Humminbird Solix 12. That's on a standalone mount. Moving up here, I have my Lowrance HDS 12. And up front, I have a Garmin 1226. Coming around the front of the boat, we have a Minn Kota Ultrex, 112 foot-pounds of thrust, 36-volt trolling motor, Garmin LVS 34, and Humminbird Mega 360. So how I run this, the two graphs that are on the stack mount, my Lowrance and my Garmin, are on all the time. The 360, depending on what I'm doing, I turn it on or I turn it off. The 360, if you guys have it, you know this. If not, it is the biggest drain on the batteries that I have on the boat. So if I'm fishing really shallow and looking for bluegill beds like I have been the last couple times out, I'll run it. If I'm fishing a major river system like Tennessee River on Pickwick, or I'm fishing up on St. Lawrence and I'm looking for rock piles and trying to stay on one, I'll run the 360. A lot of times though, I don't run it just because I like to fish deep and it doesn't always do well in really deep water, and it's a huge drain on the batteries. But the two units on the stack mount, so my Lowrance, I have the map up usually in full screen all the time. I will occasionally run 2D if I'm fishing really close to the boat. Most of the time it's got the map in full 12-inch. I run the Lowrance C-Map Pluses, and then my Garmin has LiveScope on all the time. The reason I run the map is, especially when I'm doing offshore fishing, I can drop waypoints and everything from the console, and I'll show you that here in a second, and that just keeps me on target, keeps me on those rock piles, on those schools of fish if I'm on the ledges like I have been here recently, and can keep me on track and on target. Coming back here to the console, running two Lowrance HDS 12s. I like the Lowrances for their side imaging. I think they give a very clear side image, and this also ties in with the Lowrance that I have on the front of the boat. I think it's critical to make sure you have at least two units that are linked, one at the console, one at the bow, for that mapping, especially if you want to get into some offshore fishing. Typically how I run this, if I'm just cruising down the lake, I will run my gauges on my right unit, and I will run my mapping in full screen on my left hand unit. I rely very heavily on mapping. I think anybody who's been around for a while knows, finding those subtle changes, finding those small contour changes, especially offshore, is critical. Now, if I'm cruising and I'm looking for fish, how I typically set this up is I will run a split screen on the left hand unit. I will run the map on the bottom half, I will run down imaging on the top half, and I run side scan fully on the right. And I typically mark my structure and mark my fish off of my side scan, and that links to the front. So all that ties together, lets you see more what's going on in the water, lets you see more structure, lets you see more of those subtle changes, bottom composition, things like that. Biggest thing though, it doesn't matter what unit you have, what you're a fan of. I mean, they all three make really good units. If you can't power them, they are useless. So I've ran through a lot of combinations of batteries. Been running big Lowrance units and things like that for about 9 years now. I've gone through flooded acid batteries, AGM batteries, different lithium batteries. The setup that I have now, I feel very confident in, and I'm going to show you guys how I run that, what I do in the back of the boat. So, it's a little dark back here, so hoping this shows up well. Okay, so everything's charging up right now, and what you can see on that side of the boat, the battery, the red and black batteries over there, those are ProGuide lithiums. Those are 12 volt lithium, 100 amp hour. They are connected in series. Those three batteries solely power my Minn Kota Ultrex. They make a really good battery. I've had my batteries go dead on me one time in the last 3 years, and I was fishing an early spring day right below the Wheeler Dam on Wilson in extremely high current, and I had the trolling motor on high and spot locked for about 7 straight hours, and they finally died. And I really can't complain about that. There's no battery on the market with that trolling motor that's going to last that long. The flashing lights you can see behind those batteries, that is a Minn Kota Precision 4-bank. And if you look over here, the little blue box back there is a Powerhouse Lithium 16-volt charger. So everything comes over here, comes to these two batteries. This big 5D size battery right here, this is my Powerhouse Lithium 16-volt 100 amp hour. And then this one right here, this is a Powerhouse Lithium 12-volt 100 amp hour starting battery. So how I have this set up, all the red and black ones over there, the ProGuides, those all tie back into this white and black box. That is your breaker for the Minn Kota trolling motor. These three batteries are being charged off of banks 2, 3, and 4 off of the Minn Kota Precision. Coming over here, the Powerhouse Lithium starting battery is powered off bank number 1 of the Minn Kota Precision. And then that blue box right back there, that is the Powerhouse Lithium 16-volt 35 amp charger, and that's what keeps my electronics going. So I already told you that the ProGuides are doing nothing but the trolling motor. The Powerhouse Lithium starting battery obviously starts the 250 Mercury Pro XS. It runs all of my lights, all of my pumps, live wells, accessories, things like that. Everything comes off of that, which all goes back into that main fuse panel right there. I don't know if you can see it. I run a common grounding bus into the hull of the boat. But the main thing when it comes to the electronics is going to be this battery right here, 16-volt Powerhouse Lithium. As you can see, there's only one thing coming off of it. That comes right down here to this 3-way Perco switch. And then if you look down here, I'm not going to dig it all the way out, that green tag right there, that is a Sonar Pros harness for all of my electronics. That comes back to this switch right here, which I'll get back to that switch in a minute. Sonar Pros harness. Clean power, steady power is definitely key on these electronics. So most of your boats are going to come from the factory with adequate wiring. Most of them are going to run 14 or 16 gauge wiring. Most factory boats are set up to run 2, maybe 3 units. If you're going to run 5 and you're going to run LiveScope and everything like that, you've got to have really good wiring to get power to everything on the boat. Sonar Pros makes their wiring harnesses with 10 gauge, and they will put factory connections on everything that you have. Shout out to those guys. They were great to work with. I did that 2 summers ago, and it's made a world of difference on my electronics. You tell them the make, model of your boat, you tell them what graphs you have, where they're located, and they will make you a wiring harness for that. So there's actually 7 wires that come through that. So each one of the 12-inch screens has its own power supply. The Mega 360 has its own power supply, and the black box for the LVS 34 transducer has its own power supply. Everything ran with 10 gauge wiring and brought straight back here to the battery. Now, running that many units, 100 amp hour, if I'm running my Mega 360, I can get about 9 or 10 hours out of that battery. That's where this switch right here comes in. So this is a simple 3-way Perco switch. It's in the off position right now. The 16 volts is tied into the number 1 slot. My 12 volt is tied into the number 2. So if I'm doing a really long day like you've seen us do on Fork and on Gunnersville and St. Lawrence, and I'm running everything, about 9, maybe 10 hours is the absolute limit if I'm running everything on the boat. All I got to do then is spot lock, come back here, flip the switch, turn everything back on. In a matter of a minute, I have all my electronics back up and running. Yeah, if you guys are looking to get into LiveScope, looking to set your electronics rigs up, I would highly recommend running lithium. I ran AGMs when I first got this boat. I ran flooded acid on my old tracker. Lithium's definitely the way to go. They're a little more pricey right at the initial startup. There's a lot of good brands out there. I'm partial to Powerhouse Lithium and ProGuide. They all make a good battery. They all run a really good warranty. So yes, you're going to pay anywhere from $700 to $1,200 for a battery to start out with. However, most of them run anywhere from a 5 to a 10-year warranty, where if they mess up, they fix it. Powerhouse Lithium, again, shout out to those guys. I have had a couple issues happen. I actually had my 16 volt charger go out completely the night that we arrived in Texas, when you guys saw the Lake Fork video. Got on the phone with those guys. They walked me through troubleshooting it, and fortunately we got it running. But if they hadn't got it running, they were going to overnight a charger to the Airbnb I was staying at. Those guys are top notch. They're out of, I think it's Louisiana or Mississippi, somewhere down there. You call customer service, you're going to get an actual person who will talk to you on the phone and can usually help you troubleshoot things. So yeah, that's my setup. That's how I run everything. That's how I keep this rig going. Talked to a few of you and giving you some pointers of how to set your stuff up. I just thought I'd run you through my rig, how it goes, what I do, and what I found works best for me. So yeah, if you guys got any questions, drop them in the comments. As always, like and subscribe, so much appreciated, and we'll get back out on the water and show you guys some more tips and tricks and techniques of how I catch fish.